The WRL schedule is here. The Order Gauntlets now have dates, and FSA is introducing a brand new series. All of this and more in 30 seconds.
Welcome to Alliance Report Studios, brought to you by Sport Management Solutions. Here's your host, Brian B.
Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Alliance Report. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let's get into it. Here is our rundown for the night. We're going to talk about the Wheel of Fate, the doubleheader week, the WRL schedule, which is a big chunk of what we're going to talk about tonight, the Order Gauntlets and their dates, the APBL rivalry week. We're going to give you an update on that. Meet the Alliance and Inside the Alliance, which is our new series here at FSA. We are going to start off the night with the Wheel of Fate. So the Wheel of Fate recap. So the Wheel of Fate kicked off on the 7th of July at 7 p.m. East Coast time. Immediately after the spin completed, general managers started making their picks. By 4:30 p.m. on July 11th, all 36 general managers had been placed. So it was done in just over 3 days and some change. And we are going to break down each region in the same order as the general manager selected their Dragon region, which means we are going to start off with the Red Dragon region. I see Tracy out there tonight. Tracy, how are you? All right, Red Dragon region. So you see it there, victory through fire. I wanted you to take a note of that. We have decided to give mottos to each one of these regions, and you're going to see that tonight for the first time. So the Red Dragon region, victory through fire. So we're going to talk about the Red Dragon region and what it looked like after the Wheel of Fate. So Bob V had the first overall pick, and he wasted no time. He went straight to the Inferno division in the Red Dragon region. And then the third pick overall also chose the Red Dragon region. And then we had a run from picks 9 through 14, all selected the Red Dragon region, with only pick 13 breaking that streak. And when the dust settled, I can tell you that the Red Dragon region is stacked. Both of the Damians in the league ended up in here. We have 2 Hall of Fame members called this region home. 8 former APFL members, 7 from the NFC and 1 from the AFC, all reunited in the Red Dragon region. Lots of familiar competition, high stakes. This region is going to be a war starting in week 1. Let's see, what does Paul say out there? Paul says the gold standard is here from Orlando. He is on vacation with his kids right now who are visiting down from Canada, so I hope they're having a good time. He's supplying us with lots of pictures. Super excited to see those. But coming up next, fresh off her theater speaking debut with the musical theater workshops rendition of Willy Wonka in the musical, in rendition of Willy Wonka the musical, is Evelyn B to talk to you about the Black Dragon region. Let's look at that Black Dragon region motto. It is rule from the shadows. Evelyn, take it away.
The Black Dragon region is home to some of the most decorated general managers in WRL history. Selection number 2 overall, E.T. Spencer started things off by choosing the Abyss division in the Black Dragon region. As the picks continued, a father-in-law and a son-in-law ended up in the same division, and both of the Anthonys in the league landed in the Black Dragon region together. But the most impressive part of this region is the championship history. In 2022, the WRL Championship ended in a tie, not because of anything on the fantasy field, but because Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin collapsed on the field during a Monday Night Football game, and the NFL suspended the game. Because some fantasy players never got their points that night, the two general managers who made it to the championship agreed to share the title as co-champions. Both of those 2022 co-champions are now in the Black Dragon region, so are the 2023 champion and the 2024 champion and the 2025 champion. The That is 5 championship banners all in one region. And when the last 2 picks of the entire Wheel of Fate came at numbers 35 and 36, the only 2 spots left were both in the Abyss division. That means 2 of the 3 most recent WRL champions will be competing in the same division in 2026.
Yeah, so when I started digging through this today, I already knew the 2025, 2024, and 2023 regional champions were in here, or WRL champions were in this together. And I started looking at it a little bit closer, and I realized, hey, there's some other familiar logos in here. And I started digging back to our 2022 season and realized that our co-champions from that were in there together, and it just told a really good story. So we have co-champions from 2022, the champion from 2023, champion from 2024, and champion from 2025, all in this region together. So it's going to be super awesome. All right, so let's move on to the Gold Dragon region. The motto there is Guard the Horde. And with the Gold Dragon region, pick number 5 was the first to choose the Gold Dragon region, and I think that was Paul. I think, Paul, you ended up being the number 1 pick over in the Gold Dragon region, and I think you took the Horde division, if I remember right. Paul's out there right now. Who else is out there? Jeff is also out there. Jeff, how are you? Good to see you out there tonight, sir. So then picks 5, 6, and 7 all went to the Gold Dragon, each one of them taking a different division. Pick 6 took the Crown division, pick 7 took the Gilded division, and then, of course, pick number 5 ended up taking the Horde division. And then here's the real big headline for the Gold Dragon region. All 4 female members of the FSA ended up in this region. So there are 2 in the Crown division, 2 in the Gilded division. The Gold region is going to have a little something extra this season with all of the ladies of FSA there in the same region. All right. Even Julia says, dang, after she heard all of that. Hey, Julia, how are you? All right, so let's talk now about this doubleheader week. I got to make sure that I've got the right button here. Let's go up here to this rundown. Let's get over here to this doubleheader week. There we go. All right, so doubleheader week. Right after we got done with the Wheel of Fate, we ran a second wheel to determine the doubleheader week. We kept spinning until a number came up twice, and that number was week 13. So the divisional game weeks were already set based on the NFL bye schedule. So our divisional games for the WRL were set for weeks 1, 4, 5, 9, 12, and 14. With week 13 becoming the doubleheader week, that means week 14 got absorbed into week 13. Week 13 was set up as an out-of-division game. Week 14 was set up as an in-division game. So the doubleheader week will feature both one out-of-division game and one in-division matchup in that same week. Now, originally, week 14 was set up to only have 2 buys on it, purposes of trying to set up as few buys as we could during divisional matchups. But now that that game has been moved into week 13, there are going to be 4 NFL teams that are on a bye week, and that's going to be the Ravens, the Colts, the Raiders, and the Jets. So that means this final week of the regular season carries a lot of weight for a lot of rosters. The schedule's already live. We set it up and published it on MFL and on iPlayFSA.com. You'll see both the team-by-team schedule and the week-by-week schedule. If you need any help navigating either one of the platforms, hit me up and let me know. All right, so now we're going to move on to the WRL schedule. So we're going to go back over to the Red Dragon region. and we're going to talk about this week 1, which is an in-division game. So the game to watch right out the gate is going to be the Ohio River Monsters and the Mad Scientist game you see there in the bottom right-hand corner. The Ohio River Monsters finished the 2025 WRL season with a power ranking of .997, almost perfect. The only thing that kept them from having that perfect ranking was they had to share their overall record with another team and had to split those points. Had it not been for that, they would have had the perfect 1.000 power ranking. And they now have to go up against, in week 1, right out the gate, against Mad Scientists, who went 8-6 in 2025. They won the first 8 games out of the 10 games that they played, but they dropped the final 4. That late season slide felt more like a fluke coming from the Mad Scientists than the norm for that team. He is a dangerous opponent in any week. So that is your week 1 game to watch in the Red Dragons region. So let's talk about the end of the season. We're going to shift all the way forward to week 13. This is the doubleheader week. This is the first half of the doubleheader week. This is your out of division games. We're going to talk about the Ohio River Monsters again as they take on Hall of Fame member Rum Runner. So that should be a great game. Rum Runner's GM, Rusty James, always a very tough opponent. And then to finish up week 13, we're going to talk about the other half of that doubleheader week when we are playing an in-division game, the Mad Scientists versus the Monarchs, bottom right-hand corner again. These two general managers always seem to find themselves in the playoff hunt, and with 2 games being played at the same time, feels like a lot of playoff implications could be riding on that game. And here, now that we're done talking about the Red Dragon region, to tell us about the Black Dragon schedule, we're going to welcome back Everly B.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, ma'am. Go for it.
I saw some of the teams, y'all named them. Watch your mouths. No, I don't like those names. I'm disappointed.
All right, go for the Black Dragons.
The Black Dragon does not waste any time getting to the big mashups. Week 1 is an in-division game week, and it opens with the 2023 WRL champion facing 2025 WRL champion. In the same week, the 2024 WRL champion faces off with the 2022 co-champions. That means 4 championship level teams are all playing each other in the very first week of the season. Then, in week 10, the 2024 champion and the 2025 champion meet in an out of division game, a rematch of last year's WRO championship. One of them is trying to prove last year was no accident. The other one is hungry to get the title back. But the game everyone in the Black Dragon region will be circling on their calendar is the first half of the week 13 doubleheader. The 2022 co-champions who have not played each other a single time in the 4 seasons because they have always ended up in different regions will finally face each other. No shared title this time, no suspended game, no split down the middle, just 2 general managers who have been waiting 4 years for a chance to settle the score.
I couldn't have written that any better. Like, I had no idea when I built the schedule that was going to happen. In fact, I didn't even know the 2022 co-champions were in this region until earlier today. And then when I started looking for that storyline today and found out that it was going to be in week 13 of the doubleheader week, that's just like poetic justice right there. It's just amazing that happened. So I appreciate it. Thank you for the rundown of the Black Dragons.
Let's move over to the Gold Dragon region, and let's talk about, again, this is the home for the 4 female general managers in the FSA. But what we're going to do is we're going to show in this region the best example of how the WRL divisional schedule works this year. So here is week 1. The first half of the in-division games are going to be played in weeks 1, 4, and 5. That's your first 3 in-division game weeks of the season. Now, here's how that's going to break down. Whoever you play in week 1, you're also going to play in week 9 in your in-division game. And then whoever you're supposed to play in week 4 is who you're going to now play in the in-division half of the week 13 doubleheader. And then whoever you play in week 5 is who you're going to play again in week 12. So just to kind of give you a visual or a mental breakdown of how the schedule this year is going to work, figured we use the Gold Dragon as the example. So every divisional opponent gets 2 shots at you. You get 2 shots at them. So that's how the schedule was built. Gold Dragon region is a perfect example of it in action. All right, so let's switch over and let's get into these Order Gauntlets, and let's talk about that. So the Order Gauntlets dates and which region they belong to are now confirmed. Before, we had them set on our schedule, but weren't guaranteed those were the actual regions that were going to have the Order Gauntlet on those days. What we decided to do was the same thing that we did here tonight, go in the order in which the general manager selected the regions. So we're going to start off with the Red Dragon region, followed by the Black Dragon region, and then finish it up with the Gold Dragon region. So the Red Dragon Order Gauntlet is going to be on the 6th of August. That's a Thursday. The Black Dragon Order Gauntlet is going to be on the 9th of August. That's a Sunday. And the Gold Dragon region is going to be on the 10th of August. That's a Monday. So August 6th was chosen specifically because it coincides with the NFL Hall of Fame game. Football is officially back that night. The tentative times that we're going to do on those dates, and I will make sure that I update in Discord if these times are going to change, but we're going to do 1 hour before the Hall of Fame game on 6th of August for the Red Dragons. Usually finish that around 45 minutes. That way we can go straight from the Order Gauntlet into watching the Hall of Fame game. Then there are no preseason games on the 9th or the 10th, so we're going to stick with the normal time slot that we're used to watching football on those days. So on the 9th of August, which is Sunday, we're going to do a 1 o'clock Order Gauntlet for the Black Dragons, and then we're going to finish it all up Monday night during Monday Night Football's time slot at 8 p.m. for the Gold Dragons. Although these are live events, you don't have to be there. This just determines the draft order. We will actually be holding and hosting the drafts later in August and probably early September. But for those of you who have watched these before, you know the entertainment value that comes along with the Order Gauntlet, especially whenever I roll Snake Eyes, which everybody loves. So, speaking of the Snake Eyes, we are going to possibly change the roll structure a little bit this year in the 2 through 12 for the 2 6-sided die. And then we're also going to change up the final roll a little bit. We changed it up during the AHSDL rolls earlier this year. And we're going to do that again for the WRL when we get ready to do those on August 6th, 9th, and 10th. So make sure you mark those dates on your calendar for your region. Again, those times are tentative, but I would probably put them in pen, but write them in very lightly in pen. All right, let's talk about this APBL rivalry week. So this is an extended week for us in the APBL because of the MLB All-Star break. This is also our rivalry week here for the APBL. First time that we've done this. Each rivalry matchup has its own unique title. These are the teams that you're going to play every year regardless. I don't want to give the titles away right now. They will show up in Zach's story when he writes it for the APBL story, which will come out on Monday. This week for us in the APBL started last Thursday with a single game that was played right after the All-Star game and then the night off, and then we rolled into Thursday. So they played on Tuesday, had the night off on Wednesday, and we rolled into a single game on Thursday, and then the full complement of teams on Friday. So we have now played Friday through today, Wednesday. And what I wanted to do was give you an update of the scores. Here is where we were at as of an hour ago. I pulled these numbers at 6 p.m. So Cincinnati's up on Cleveland, Atlanta up on Boston. Very close game between Baltimore and Philadelphia. Looking like a blowout between the two Chicago teams right now. LA and Arizona have been going back and forth all week with huge swings between the two of them. Yankees looking a little rough right now, down to Miami by quite a few. San Francisco making easy work of Sacramento, and then another really close game between St. Louis and Texas. The predicted score there in the red for those two doesn't show that it'll be that close, but as of right now, those two teams are playing a very close matchup. All right, let's shift down here to Meet the Alliance. So the final Meet the Alliance story dropped on 14 July, and this one was about me this time. So I want you all to know how that story came together and why it was different than any of the other ones that were in the series. So each of the AI staff members interviewed me from their own perspective and what they do inside their lanes in FSA. I ended up doing a total of 9 interviews. So I interviewed with everybody except for Kim and Alyssa because they ended up being the ultimate authors of this story. And we ended up getting the transcripts from all of the interviews that I did with the 9 AI characters. And when we compiled it all, it came up to 91 pages of transcript or 91 pages of source material. And then Kim and Alyssa turned that into the story that you see on the website. If you haven't got a chance to read it, go out and read it. I think it ended up being a good read, not because it was about me, but I thought it was interesting in the way that it developed because of having AI characters interview me and then turning what was a 91-page document into a story that went out on the internet. And I think it captured everything that I was trying to relay and portray to everybody that ends up reading it out there. So again, if you've not read it, head out to iPlayFSA.com and check it out. All right, final topic of the night. The Meet the Alliance final story rolls into something called Inside the Alliance. So I'm going to put an image up here on the screen for you all to see, and then I'm going to talk over this image. So Inside the Alliance is a brand new content series for FSA. Think about it as The Office meets FSA. However, let me see if I'm missing any messages over here real quick before we continue to talk about this. Okay. Imagine it as The Office meets FSA. So it's a webtoon or a comic book format where everything is actually based on actual events that's happened with FSA and the AI characters. They might just be exaggerated or embellished just a little bit. So the idea was born on May 28th during a conversation that I was having with Isabella, who's the graphic artist on the AI side of the house. And it happened because I had hit a usage limit with Claude, the other AI program that I use. And then Isabella, the graphic artist, suggested fake internal FSA staff meetings, and then suggested that we could call it Inside the Alliance. And I thought, what a great idea. That's something that's sustainable. It's something that's going to have content all the time just for me doing work with the AI agents. And you're not going to see it in the first episode, which we're calling the pilot episode. You're not going to see any of the characters in it yet, except for just as chatting members on screens in this first 17-panel pilot episode. But all of the AI characters will eventually show up in this series. We've already got episode 1 and episode 2 created. Again, the one that you see out there right now. And for those of you, it's on TikTok, and it's the only place it is right now. If anybody who does not have TikTok, come up on Discord, let me know. We'll figure out another way for you to see it. But we've been watching the analytics on TikTok, and we're realizing that not everybody is reading through all 17 panels. So what we're going to do when we get ready to release episode 1, which is going to happen on Monday, we're going to release episode 1 in just a few panels. And then we'll do it again on Wednesday and again on Friday. So it'll stretch the story out a little bit. It'll be fewer panels. We're hoping to catch more of an audience that way. We're hoping to get it on more platforms as well. But as of right now, it's only on TikTok. And again, as you can see across the bottom, it says based on actual events. That first episode or that pilot episode you're watching is exactly how the idea came to reality. We decided to capture that and make it the very first webtoon or comic book for this Inside the Alliance. The hope is to get it through 9 total episodes, so it'll be the pilot plus episode 1 through 8 before we see if it's sustainable and we want to keep doing it. But we do have the first 3 done already. Again, go out on TikTok, check it out. It is called Inside the Alliance. All of the AI characters will make a cameo in this. The look of them is coming from the images that we already have on them under the Our Team section on the website right now. So if you need a refresher or you want to read the Meet the Alliance story about them, they are out there. Go out to the website, iplayfsa.com, and check it out. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining us tonight with a 26-minute long episode. I am Brian B. Thank you to intern Everly B for showing up tonight and getting her second show in during her internship. This has been the Alliance Report.
Thank you for watching The Alliance Report, sponsored by Sport Management Solutions, the leader in athletic communications. A special thank you to the Recast, the official music of the Fantasy Sports Alliance. If you enjoyed tonight's show, please like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok. Have a great night, everyone, and remember, we are fanatically real.